Innovating Education Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.
From business to government to medicine, big data is a technological buzzword that we hear a lot about these days. Essentially, it refers to the collection and analysis of large volumes of data. But how can it apply to education? If you don't see how big data could be used to improve learning, don't worry, you are not alone. Hopefully, an insight into the subject from a leading expert can put things straight. Kenneth Cukier is an editor at The Economist and joint author of a book on the subject. We meet him in the UK.
It was in Silicon Valley in California where Cukier first discovered big data. The American journalist is the guru of the phenomenon. He has held multiple workshops and conferences on the subject over the past 5 years. His equation is simple. If data is analysed with precision, it can be hugely valuable. It can be used to anticipate problems and even help people get what they want.
Try to understand the world. More aspects of living can be rendered into an informational or into a data format, like our location, like the calories we consume, like the websites that we visit. And by looking at more and more of this data, there are things we can do with a large body of data that we simply cannot do when we're only working with smaller amounts.
Every day we create masses of data simply by using our mobile phones and computers. This universe of stored information is big data. It's a phenomenon already being exploited by marketing, but can the world of education also capitalise on it? In his book, Learning with Big Data, Cukier argues that it can.
So what's happened in America on these online courses called MOOCs, massively open online courses, is that professors are able to look at when students are watching their courses and when they stop and when they repeat. And one professor at Stanford noticed that around class 7, class 8, all the students went back to class 3. Well, class 3 was a math refresher class, and it showed that as students got more and more deeply into the course, they were less and less confident about their math skills. Now, traditionally, a teacher would never have the ability to know this, that the class is actually falling behind. But suddenly, the professor was able to see this in the data, and he was able to learn, okay, 2 things. First, I need to give more prep to the students, more preparation, but also maybe I need to do a better job of instructing that particular topic because students are stopping there.
Cukier says we're on the cusp of a big data revolution in which education can be customised to individual needs.
The fact is, we need to save our kids from the educational system that was built for a different era, for an industrialized, mechanistic, one-size-fits-all assembly line era, and we can now tailor it, just as we have apps and Amazon recommendations and Google searches tailored to our interests. We need education that's tailored to our needs and the best way that we learn.
Cukier knows teachers are still wary of big data, with some seeing it as a kind of big brother, but he believes it's the only way to adapt teaching methods to each student's individual needs and abilities.
Imagine if universities could track each student's keystrokes to analyze their learning and offer customized tutoring.
That's just what's happening here at the Arizona State University, where the era of the blackboard and textbook is coming to an end. The learning process is now digital and fully customized. Software analyzes students' every keystroke to figure out their learning styles. When we visit, students are revising for their final exams.
And then we're going to add 7% of everything over 3,000.
The teaching staff are no longer the only ones helping students to progress. The software harvests information from the devices they use, collating grades, learning skills, strong and weak points, and even hesitation patterns when using the computer mouse.
It's very personal. It adapts to each individual student's needs. So one student might breeze through a particular topic where another student might need more work, and the system will adapt accordingly.
Predictive algorithms compare the stats with data gathered from tens of thousands of other students and automatically customise material for the student. New technology also changes teaching methods by giving teachers more time to support students individually and less time lecturing.
It can identify your progress real quickly, so you'll have stuff you're working on and you blow right through it.
It helped by knowing what I needed to work on. So if I didn't do good on fractions or proportions, it would take me back.
Back at her office, Professor Bloom can look at her students' data. The software will automatically alert her when a student is falling behind.
I've gone into the data. She's completed in one section 99% of the learning objectives and 98% in another one. So there are just a few topics that are holding her out, and I can look and see what's causing her difficulty, and we'll sit down and we'll talk about those ideas.
But the license for the software is not cheap. The university's goal is to reduce the number of students dropping out and thereby increase revenues coming from tuition.
Our main goal is to get these students to graduate. So yes, it's a good thing for the university to get them to graduate. It is very good also to retain the students. They're paying tuition the next year, in the next 3 years.
Arizona State University's success rate has increased 13% and the dropout rate is down by 54%. Aspen Cooper has just graduated, and for her, adaptive learning is an affordable path to academic success.
No one is left behind. The pass rate is very well in this class. The only reason that the student doesn't pass is that they don't put the time into the system.
With millions of students using this adapted learning approach in the US, it appears to have a bright future. But how advantageous it is to non-maths and creative subjects is less clear at this stage.
7 Chinese universities are now offering data scientist programs believed to be the first of its kind in the world. With a target of 40,000 graduates before the end of the year, China's new experts look set to make the country a leader in big data.
Beijing Jiaotong is one of the oldest IT universities in China. Since September, it has been one of 7 pilot universities testing the country's first education program based on big data. In this workshop, students are learning how to use customer comments and ratings on a restaurant website. The teachers help students to develop their own mobile app aimed at improving trade for retailers and for other businesses.
What we do here actually, we let a user use the mobile. We catch the the data from the mobile client. We understand how the user use the app to analyze what they like, what they don't like, and also to understand their preference. And then this accumulates the data in the back end.
Around 80 students are on the course, a dozen of them from Europe or the US, as China is, for now, the only country providing this kind of program. It requires a lot of hours in front of a computer, but the job prospects are very good.
Now all people have some mobile phone, computer, they all go to website and they buy things on the Amazon, and they all have Facebook. Or have to search something on the Google. That is data. Every day we have a lot of megabyte of data we collect. And if we want to make some money, we have to know what people really want.
The course contents are based on IBM software and technologies. The American IT giant is providing its expertise to Chinese authorities to train university teachers in big data theory and practices. Eric Guan is the engineer supervising the development of the courses. He thinks private companies have a big role to play in instructing public sector partners.
Students have to know how to read big data, but they also have to know how it can be used for the economy and different industrial sectors, banking, finance, insurance. They also have to work out how big data can help resolve the problems of new industries. For example, in the banking sector, big data is used in risk management and against fraud.
In June, Jiaotong University students will be among the first big data graduates in the world. By the end of the year, China plans to run 100 such courses in universities across the country.
So, is big data the latest educational revolution, or is it the latest fad? Share your ideas with us on our social media pages. See you again next week.
Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.